Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie and today is video number 35 of my Beginning Gardener series, and today we're going to talk a little bit about mulch. Now there's a lot of different mulches that we can use, and I will show you what I use and the different situations where I like to use my different kinds of mulch. So we have two different kinds of mulch in this area, and it's soon to be three. The first one that I really like to use is straw. Now I don't use hay mulch because I feel like hay has a little bit more weed seeds in it, and this is straw. And every once in a while I do get a little bit of growth from the straw, but not very often, and it's really easy to pull out. It holds water really well, it breaks down pretty quickly, and it's cheap and easy to find. So I've been mulching all of my garden beds in straw lately. Now there are several different reasons why I like to use mulch. And if you look at this bed, this is my new bed. This blend here is a mix of compost, sand, and screen topsoil. It's a mix that I bought from a garden center, and when it dries, it gets a crust on the top of it. Now if we put a mulch over that, we eliminate the problem of getting the crust. This is my brand new potato bed. When you move the straw back, I'm not seeing a crust forming in here. It seems like this soil is a little more crumbly and friable than the unmulched beds. And these beds are going to be mulched here soon, and I'm going to show you what we'll mulch those with here shortly. We've got another one over there that needs to be mulched. Now between the garden beds in this area, this is what I count as my food forest. We've got a lot of fruit trees and some berry bushes. We're putting in some perennials in the ground. But this is a wood chip mulch. I got it from a local landscape company. They just create a mulch pile of whatever they've chipped up and then they bring it in. Now this one did end up having a little bit of trash in it, but it hasn't been that bad. I just cleaned out the trash as I spread the mulch. And wood chip mulch actually is really good over large areas like this. It's really healthy for the soil. It doesn't blow away. It breaks down slowly, and it nourishes the soil as it breaks down. So I really like wood chip mulch, and it holds the moisture in really, really well. I do need to get some more as I've planted. We've got areas where the mulch is a little thin, and you can see the crust that's forming on the top and how dry this looks. But if we move over to where the ground has been covered and dig down through the mulch, the ground is still wet and it's not as compacted. Now I got my degree in landscape management and I took an arboriculture class, and in that class they talked about compaction around trees, and they said one of the best ways to alleviate compaction is to heavily mulch with wood chips. Now we never pile wood chips against the trunks of trees, just keep the mulch away from the trunk of the tree, but you can put the mulch deeper away from the tree. Now this is my front yard, and I like a little bit cleaner look in my front yard than the wood chip mulch gives. So what I am using here is what the nursery is called a compost mulch. It's just compost mixed with wood chips that are chopped up finely. This holds the moisture in really, really well. If you dig down, it's been almost 2 weeks since I watered and it's still wet underneath there. And we've been getting into the 80s. So the compost mulch works really, really nicely. Now I don't know about other places, but in Utah you can actually go to your local waste management district and get their mulch. They'll create mulch out of the green waste, and it's a really excellent product to use. It does break down a lot quicker and you do have to replace it. It's more of a compost than an actual thick mulch. It does break down, but it works beautifully to mulch with, and it actually stays pretty dark and nice looking. So there are a lot of different ways to mulch your gardens. And as I said before, the reason to mulch is to hold in moisture, improve the texture of the soil, and it also reduces the amount of weeding that you need to do. Now there's one last mulch that we didn't talk about that I'm going to take care of right now, and that is cut grass. Let me show you my grass, and we'll show you how I use grass clippings as a mulch. So this is my unmown lawn. It's been a little bit over a week. I should mow it sooner than that. It's looking really, really good, and all of these clippings are going to make an excellent mulch. Grass has a lot of moisture in it, and it has a lot of nitrogen. It breaks down pretty quickly, and it suppresses weeds and feeds the soil really well. The one thing that you do need to do is make sure that you don't have weed seeds. I usually go around and make sure I pulled all the little dandelion seed heads off before I mow if I'm going to use the grass as a mulch. If I don't do that, then I'm going to grow a nice crop of dandelions in my garden. Now they have a nice layer of grass clippings over the top, and I could just leave it at this. Grass clippings make a good mulch just on their own, but I'm going to add a layer of straw over the top of this. This soil is new and it doesn't seem to have a ton of organic matter built up in it, so I'm going to cover the grass with straw so that it'll break down a little bit quicker and not blow away. So now they are all mulched. They should do well, and hopefully I won't have to water as much. Now there's one other mulch that's an excellent mulch that I almost forgot to talk about, and let's go show you that one. Now the rustling that you hear are the cottonwood trees in my neighbor's backyard. If you'll notice, they lean way over my yard, so I get a good bulk of those leaves in my yard. And that makes an excellent mulch. Leaf mulch is an excellent mulch if used correctly. Now cottonwood leaves are pretty big, and if you leave them whole and just let them fall and stay where they are, they will form an impenetrable mat, and even water won't be able to get through. So the best thing to do is to chop them up. And once they're chopped up, you can actually use them as a mulch over your garden beds, or you can use them over your flower beds. Now these right here are decomposed leaves. This is an excellent, excellent mulch. It's also an excellent amendment to your soil. I usually get a ton of leaves in the fall, and this is what they decompose down to by, this is May, this is the middle of May, and they've been slowly decomposing. I do have a sprinkler head on them, and that helps them decompose faster, but these will decompose into excellent compost in one season. So this compost right here was started last fall, and this is just what was under the material that I moved over into these beds. So all three of these beds were completely full last fall, and this is how much they've decomposed down to. Now I generally don't use leaves as mulch in my beds. I prefer to use all the leaves I can get for my compost. Now one other mulch you could use is a living mulch, a green mulch. And that's when you take something like barley or winter rye or vetch, something that you can use as a cover crop, and that will mulch your beds. And what you do is just after they go to flower and before they set seed, you cut it down and either turn it under or you just leave it as a mulch on the top. So that's basically all that I can think of to tell you about mulch, and I'd like to know if I've forgotten anything. If you have anything to add about mulching your properties, please add that below. And hopefully this video has been helpful for you, and if it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.